There are two main ways of saying the word for. This is the most common one. This means literally for the purpose of, for the benefit of something. So that is 위해. So you take a noun, whatever you're doing something for, and you attach the object marker here, which is after a consonant and le after a vowel. Then you attach 위해. You might sometimes also see it as 위해서. 위해서 and 위해 have the exact same meaning as each other. The 서 is completely optional. And one thing I should say is that this usage is actually an adverb usage. So when you're using this form, it has to be followed by a verb. So this would be something like if you wanted to say, I bought a present for Mike. In that usage, you'd be saying, I bought a present for. So in Korean, that for is an adverb and bought would be the verb that it would go together with. So let me give you an example of how we would say something like that. 마이크를 위해 선물을 샀어요. I bought a present for Mike. Noun first. Whatever you're doing something for. Who is it for? What is it for? Then you say 위해. After that, what you did or what someone did or what happened or anything. But there's another kind of noun that we can also make. And I actually covered this in a previous live stream. This is another noun that we can use, and that is verb stem plus 기. Before, remember how we used the object marker after a noun? Well, if you're using this verb stem, you technically can use this object marker after, but most of the time it is not used. So all you do is attach again 위해 or 위해서, just like before. 한국어를 공부하다, to study Korean, just the verb to study Korean. So now we can make it into 공부하기. Now we get studying Korean. 위해, for the purpose of, or for studying Korean. What about I made a book? 책을 만들었어요. For studying Korean, I made a book. Now this sounds a little bit awkward, right? For studying Korean. I made a book for studying Korean. If you read it like that, it sounds a little more natural though. I made a book for studying Korean. But before we go on, I want to let you know that for might not be the most natural translation when we're using this form, 위해, with 기. There is a better way to translate for, in order to. If you translate it as in order to in your head, you'll be much more easily able to create your own sentences in Korean from English. In order to study Korean, 책을 만들었어요. I made a book in order to study Korean. And you might see something that looks like this, blah, 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 used exactly the same way. 위하여. This is the exact same thing as 위해. This is an older form. And originally, 위해 would have been conjugated as 위하여. 위한. It's a conjugation of 위하다, as is 위해. It's actually used pretty similarly. You take a noun, you attach the object marker just like before, then you attach 위한. So this meaning is the exact same meaning as 위해. How this form differs is just how it's used. 위한 makes it into an adjective. It's not followed by a verb, it's followed by a noun. Before, with our 위해 form, we said, I wrote a book or I made a book for learning Korean or in order to learn Korean, right? Now we can say a book that is for learning Korean. A book for learning Korean. 한국어를 배우다, to learn Korean. Now we're going to make it into a noun. So we have 배우기. This just means learning Korean. And this is a noun. You can say, oh, I like learning Korean. 한국어 배우기를 좋아해요. I like learning Korean, or whatever you want to do with this. Or 한국어 배우기가 어려워요. Learning Korean is difficult. 한국어를 배우기 위한. So 한국어를 배우기 위한 책. Then let's just attach 이에요. So it is from the verb 이다, to be. So it is a book for the purpose of, or in order to, learn Korean. So this is a book for learning Korean. This is a book in order to learn Korean. This is a book for the purpose of learning Korean. This is a book to learn Korean. Any way you want to translate it, it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Whatever sounds the most natural to you. Now we have an adjective. What is for the purpose of learning Korean? Well, whatever noun we put after, which in this case is going to be 책, a book. So if someone says, 뭐예요? What is it? You can hold up the book. You're like, oh, 한국어를 배우기 위한 책이에요. It's a book for learning Korean. Is there a present for me? 저를 위한. So now it's an adjective. So what comes after an adjective? Well, always a noun. 선물. Then you say 이 있어요. 저를 위한 선물이 있어요. Is there a present for me? Just like that. This is an example I actually took out of my own book because I like this example. 엄마를 위해, for my mom, 집, house, 청소 is to clean, as in like to do house cleaning. So 집을 청소했어요. I cleaned the house for my mother. Let's talk about the difference between 위해 and 위한, because this is a very important difference to know. You can usually easily tell like, oh, I should use 위해서 here. I should use 위해 here because it's followed by a verb. Or I should use 위한 here because it's followed by a noun. But there are some cases when it's followed by a noun, but you don't want to use the adjective. You don't want to say 위한. In fact, 엄마를 위한 집 would be wrong. Even though you might think, oh, it should be 위한 because 집, it's followed by noun, right? Yes and no. 위해 means it's used as an adverb, and 위한 means it's used as an adjective, but there's no rule that an adverb has to be followed directly by a verb. In this case, 위해, the verb that it's being used with, is actually 청소했어요. So cleaning. I'm cleaning for my mom. And this literally means for the purpose of my mom. So like, for my mom, to be nice. For my mom, I clean the house. What if we were to say this? Grammatically, this is perfectly correct. To say 엄마를 위한 집을 청소했어요. What do you think would be the reason this sentence would be wrong to say 위한? You can say 위한 집을 청소했어요, but now you have a different meaning. When you wrote 위해, this is an adverb. So what verb is it talking about? What did you do for your mom? For your mom, what did you do? Because it's an adverb, so you need a verb. Well, 집을 청소했어요. I cleaned the house. I cleaned the house for my mom. 위한 has a completely different meaning. So if you see 위한, something is for my mom. What is it that's for my mom? What thing is for my mom? Well, it's a house. This house is for my mom. And I cleaned it. I cleaned the house that was for my mom. That makes very little sense. Like, for example, the only way this sentence could make sense is if you bought a bunch of houses. You got a house for your best friend, for your mother-in-law. You got a house for your mom too. 엄마를 위한 집. And that house, 엄마를 위한 집, 청소했어요. I cleaned it. I cleaned the house that's for my mom. That's what it would have to mean. The house that's for your mom, because now this is an adjective. So that's why this sentence would be wrong, because you're not a billionaire. If you are a billionaire, please send lots of donations to my channel. What you're doing for your mom is a verb. You're doing something for your mom. You're not doing a thing for your mom. So you're cleaning. So it has to be 위해. Let's do this. We actually did this previous example. 한국어를 공부하다. Remember, to study Korean. 한국어를 공부하다. Well, now we're going to have 기 위해. For studying Korean, or in order to study Korean, or just to study Korean, or for studying Korean, however you want to translate, it doesn't really matter. 책을 만들었어요. 한국어를 공부하기 위해 책을 만들었어요. This is an example, though, where you can use both 위해 and 위한. However, they would still have different meanings. So first, let's look at 위해. What would using 기 위해 mean with this sentence? So we have 한국어를 공부하기 위해 책을 만들었어요. I made a book in order to study Korean. And I made a book in order to study Korean with Han is also the same English translation. I made a book in order to study Korean. So if we said 한국어를 공부하기 위해 책을 만들었어요, how would that be different from saying 한국어를 공부하기 위한 책을 만들었어요? So 한국어를 공부하기 위해 책을 만들었어요 means in order to study Korean, I wrote a book. And the purpose of making this book was to study Korean. If you were to, however, write 한국어를 공부하기 위한 책을 만들었어요, that means this book is for the purpose of studying Korean, and I made it. So that would be saying like, I made a book for studying Korean. This book's purpose is for studying Korean. So you can say either one, but depending on what do you want to say? Is this book that you wrote specifically for studying Korean, or did you just make a book because you were trying to study Korean? Both of them are completely legitimate, but they have slightly different meanings. I'm not trying to make things complicated, but I will say that these forms are both not super common when speaking. I don't mean that you can't use them, but these forms are slightly on the formal side. So when you're writing an essay, if you're writing something down, writing an email, reading a book, you'll very commonly see these forms, but these are not the most common ways to say for. We can say sometimes for me when we're just expressing our opinion. We might say, well, for me, BTS is the most famous K-pop group ever. Or for me, kimchi is a bit spicy. When you're expressing your opinion, do not say 저를 위해 or 나를 위해. If you want to say what I think is, for example, like for me, what I think is, there are a couple ways you can say that. 제 생각에, literally in my opinion, in my thinking, in my thoughts. You can also say 내 생각에는 if you are speaking casually, like with close friends. So 내 생각에는 Another really common way that people will say for me is just 저는, just means me, I. But as I taught in the live stream where we covered topic marker and the subject marker and the object marker, this is kind of like holding up a sign that says me in your conversation. So like, hey, let's talk about me. So now the conversation is about me, which is what for me means. Like when you say, well, for me, let's talk about me. You know, for me, when I'm giving my opinion, you can just say 저는. So if you want to say, for me, it's a bit too spicy. You say 저는 너무 매워요. Oh, it's too spicy. That also means for me, it's too spicy. Or as for me, or when it comes to me, or anything like that. For me, it's a bit too spicy. There's one more way though. This is the most common way that people will express their opinions. 제 생각에는 is when you really want to express what you think about something. So if you say 제 생각에는, you're like, well, let me tell you what I think. What I think is this, okay? Here's what I think. 저는 is like, well, for me, you know, when it comes, for me, blah, blah. 저한테는 is more of a direct translation. I think this sounds even more natural, just saying 저한테는. Well, for me, literally means to me. But this is often used as a way to express your opinion. 저한테는 blah, 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 blah. Whatever you want to say. This is the most commonly messed up grammar that uses for. Thanks for. Thank you for. Thank you for the purpose of the present. It doesn't make sense in English either, does it? Thank you in order to the present. Thank you to the present. Doesn't make sense. The first grammar form is you just say the noun and then you say thank you. 선물 감사합니다. Literally just present. Thank you. Just a noun, like if they gave you something. 감사합니다. Thank you for. So if you just want a really quick way of saying thank you, there you go. You don't have to say 감사합니다 because that's formal, very polite. You can just say 고마워 or 고마워요. So you can just say 선물 고마워. Thanks for the present. 셔츠 고마워. Thanks for the shirt. 모자 고마워. Thanks for the hat. You know, whatever you want to say like that. Thanks for giving me something. So what if you wanted to say like, thank you for helping me. Thank you for doing something. Well, we need a separate form for that. And that is noun, then the object marker, 주셔서, then 감사합니다, which literally is from the verb 주다, which means to give. Changed into an honorific form, 주시다, changed into the 서 form, which we did cover in, I think, the very first or the very second live stream class, which becomes 주셔서. So for giving is what it really means. And then thank you. So this literally means thank you for giving me something. Now, it can be 선물, present, any noun, for giving me thank you. So thank you for giving me a noun. This is a better way to say thanks for doing something. Well, thanks for giving me something. If you're just talking with a friend, you don't have to say 주셔서 감사합니다 because it's quite formal. But if you're just talking with a friend, you can also just say 주어서. So this is not honorific. This is just the regular verb 주다 changed into the 서 form. And then instead of 감사합니다, you can again say 고마워요 or 고마워. Right now, all we can say is thank you for giving something, right? We can also say verb conjugated as if it's in a 요 form, and then 주셔서 감사합니다 or 줘서 고마워요. So for example, 하다 would become 해. Verb conjugated as if you're going to conjugate the 요 form. And don't add the 요. After you do that, attach 주셔서. So now you have literally, thank you for doing a verb. Thank you for doing something. And now we can use this form with any verb you want. 도와주다, which means to help. However, 도와주다 itself has 주다 in it. So this verb works a little differently when you're saying, thank you for doing something for me. Because when we conjugate the verb like this, where you can get 주어, 도와주어, but then you don't want to say 도와주어, 주셔서. It doesn't go like that because this already has 주다 in it. So all you have to do is 도와주어서 or 주셔서. So you can say 도와주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you for helping me. Or literally, thank you for giving me the act of helping. Or 도와주어서 고마워요. If you're talking to a friend, 도와줘서 고마워. Thanks for helping. All right. So I have some quiz questions for you.